Hello guys, in this session we are going to see arrays in Java. So first of all, let me tell you what is the need of arrays. Let us suppose I have three elements, or you can say three numbers. I have to store these three numbers in the memory location. So for that I need to create variables for storing this number in the memory location. Now I have created three variables ABC for storing this 10, 20 and 30 in the memory location. Now let us suppose I have to store 1000 such numbers. So obviously creating 1000 variables for these 1000 numbers is very lengthy task. So in that case I can use arrays. So arrays are used for storing n numbers of elements with the help of single variable. Now let us suppose I have array of 6 numbers, that is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. Okay. So now you can observe here is the type of all these numbers is nothing but integer. You can say the array is a collection of elements of same data type. Another thing, if you want to access this location, so you have to access this location with the help of indexes. So if you want to use this location, then you have to use index of this location. So A of 4 for storing for accessing this value or location, you have to use A of 4. So with the help of indexes, you can access this location. Now let us suppose I want to store this 70 in this array. But all blocks of array are currently filled, and that's why I cannot store this number in this array. So the size of array is fixed. So first, the type of these elements should be same. Second, each element has index, and third, the size of array is fixed. So what can be the definition of the array? It is indexed collection of fixed number of elements of same data type. So that is nothing but the definition of array. Now let us see how arrays are used in Java. So in this session we are going to see how to declare array in Java, how to allocate memory to array in Java, memory allocation. Okay. Third, we are going to see is nothing but initialization of array. Fourth, we are going to see all these in one statement. Okay. Fifth, we are going to see difference between length variable and length method. Okay. And sixth, we are going to see example. Now let us start with the declaration of an array. So let us now see the declaration of one-dimensional array. To declare one-dimensional array in Java, we have to write this statement. So this is going to declare variable A as one-dimensional array. Okay. So here data type can be anything you want. So it can be char, it can be boolean, it can be string, it can be even one of the class. So it can be anything. Right now I am creating the one-dimensional array of integer data type. Okay. So here it is the data type. Then you can say opening and closing square bracket, then A. Again, another way of doing same in Java is nothing but you can give opening and closing square bracket before the name of variable, and even you can give that dimension after the variable of name of the variable. Okay, now these three are valid ways of declaring one-dimensional array. But first one is always recommended. Why? Because in this, the type of the variable A is clearly separated from the name of the variable. Okay, so that's why this first way of declaration is always recommended. Now let us see how can we declare two-dimensional array in Java. So again there are various ways in which you can declare two-dimensional array. So this is your first way. Another way can be this one, or like this also you can declare. Okay, or like this also you can declare, or in this way also you can declare two-dimensional array. So these are the 5 different ways in which two-dimensional array can be declared in Java. So in the first way, what I have done is I have given both the dimensions with the data type. Here one dimension with the data type, another dimension with the variable name. Here both the dimension with the variable. Here both the dimension with the variable, but one dimension before variable, one dimension after variable. Here both the dimensions are with variable, but both are after variable. So in this way there are 5 ways of declaring A, which is nothing but a two-dimensional array. Okay, now I have written some example over here, and you have to find out what is the dimension of A and B in each of these example. Okay, now what would be the dimension of A over here? So it will be one dimension. Okay, so dimension of A is 1. Now what would be the dimension of B? Because one dimension of B is over here and another dimension of B is over here. That's why dimension of B will be 2. Now dimension of A here is 2, right? So this 2 dimension will be of A. Okay, so the dimension of A is 2. Now what is the dimension of B over here? See, when this program is going to compile having this statement, so this all the space will be removed and this 2 will be merged. Okay, so finally it is going to be like this. Okay, so dimension of B over here is also 2. Okay, now dimension of here A is obviously 2. One is over here and another is over here. Now what is the dimension of B over here? There is only one dimension, okay, because this is not going to merge with this. That's why the dimension of B here is 1. Now dimension of A here is 2, right? These 2 will be merged, and dimension of B here is 3. Why? Because these 2 will be merged and one dimension, so 2 dimension over here and one dimension with this B. That's why the dimension of B over here is 3. Now the dimension of A over here is 2 obviously, but what is the dimension of B over here? Actually it is invalid. Why? Because if you are writing dimension before the name of the variable, then it is only possible for the first variable. Okay, so for the remaining variable it is not possible, or it is invalid to give dimension before the remaining variables. So that's why this is invalid statement. When it is going to be, when you are going to compile this code or this statement obviously is going to give you the error. Okay, let us now see how to allocate memory to array in Java. So for in Java we need to write int array equal to new int and array of, so that is nothing but the size of array. So this statement is going to create an array with size 3 and that would be pointed by A. So this new array which has been created with size 3 will be pointed by this A. Okay, now for creating an array I have used new keyword over there, or you can say new operator over there. So we know that new operator is used for creating an object. So we can conclude that each array in Java is nothing but an object. So you might have doubt that if you have this is nothing but the object, then there should be corresponding class for this object. So let us see what class is there for this object. here the class of A is nothing but this one. Okay, so the class name of A is nothing but opening bracket and I. This opening bracket is indicating that it is one-dimensional array, and I is indicating that the type of the array is integer. So if we have the array of two-dimensional, then the class of this would be two-dimensional I. Means we have two-dimensional array of type int. So that's why this opening bracket is going to represent what is the dimension, and this alphabet is going to represent what is the data type. Okay, let us now find the class of each of these objects. Okay, now here the class would be opening bracket I. Why? One dimension and integer. That's why one dimension, opening square bracket means one dimension, and I means data type integer. Here one dimension, that means one square bracket, and for char it is C. Here one dimension for one square bracket for one dimension, and for double it will be D. One square bracket for one dimension, and for byte it is going to be Y, B. And one square bracket for one dimension and S for short. Now here what would be the class for this object, because B is already used for byte. So in Java for boolean, Z is used for indicating the data type in case of one-dimensional array of boolean. Suppose I am having two-dimensional array of double. So in that case, what would be the class of this A? The class of this A will be two opening square bracket and B. So in this way we can find out class of any array object. Now let us see some rules of creating arrays in Java. So for creating array in Java, we need to write int, that is dimensions, then name of the variable is equal to new, then data type once again, and then size over here. Okay. Now let us suppose I am not giving any size over here. So what do you think? Are you going to get error, or this statement is completely valid? So this statement is not valid. So compulsorily you have to give value over here. Okay, and you should remember that you cannot give value over here. Okay, so here you cannot give value, whereas it is compulsory to give value over here. Now what kind of value you can give over here? Okay, so these values can be integer. Whenever you are creating of any data type, whenever you are creating array of any data type, you have to give integer value over here. Now integer value can be negative, can be 0, and can be positive. So positive value is always right. 0 is again valid. But what about the negative? So at the time of compile time, you are not going to get any error, but runtime you are going to get error. And if you are supplying negative values over here, so if you are write -15 over here, so your program will compile successfully, but when you are going to run that program, you are going to get runtime error. So you should always remember that here you cannot use value, and here compulsory you have to give value, and that should be greater than or equal to 0. Even if you are going to give negative values over there, your program is going to compile successfully, but when you are going to run that program for negative values, it is going to generate runtime error. Okay, let us now see how memory is allocated to two-dimensional array in Java. So for that, let me take the example of 4 students. Let us suppose I want to store marks of 4 students in memory. Okay, so these are the student S1, S2, S3 and S4. So there are 4 students. Now for student 1, I have to store 5 marks. So let us suppose 40, 50, 60, 55 and 65. For S2, I have to store, let us suppose, 80 marks. For S3, let us suppose I have to store 67 and 55. let us suppose for S4 I have to store 3 marks, that is nothing but 80, 40 and 70. So now let us suppose I am creating 4 by 5 two-dimensional array in memory location. So what is going to happen? I am going to waste these many locations, these many memory blocks. So how many memory blocks I am going to waste? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 memory blocks I am going to waste if I am going to store this structure as it is in the memory. Okay, so to avoid this problem, what is done in Java, the new concept or new approach is used for storing multidimensional array, and that new approach is called as array of arrays. Array of arrays. Now let us store this complete table with the help of this approach. So for how many students I have to store marks? For 4 students. So the base array will be of 4. Okay. Now each of these elements will be itself is an array. Okay. Now for first student I have to store 5 marks. That's why this would be the array of 5. And here I am going to store 40, 50, 60, 55 and 65. This second element will be the array of only one element because I have to store only 1 mark. Okay. Then I have to store 2 marks for S3. So this will be the array of 2, that is 67 and 55. And again this S4 will be the array of 3 where 80, 40 and 70 is stored, and that complete is pointed or referred by this S. Okay, so in this way this complete structure can be stored in the memory using array of array approach. In this way we are not wasting any memory location, and that is nothing but the advantage of array of arrays approach. Okay, let us now see how memory can be allocated to this structure in Java. So first of all I have to write int two-dimensional array x is equal to new two-dimensional array. Okay. Now the size of this base array is nothing but 3. So that's why I have to give 3 over here. Whereas this size right now I cannot give. Why? Because the size of these arrays are varying. So I cannot have right now the common size for these arrays. So that's why I cannot give any size over here. Now let us give size to these arrays one by one. So for that I have to write x of 0. What is x of 0? Because index of this is nothing but 0, the index of this is nothing but 1, and index of this is nothing but 2. Now x of 0, which is pointing to this array, it is an array of size 2. So that's why I have to write new int 2. Now x of 1. X of 1 is array of one element. So I have to write is equal to new int 1. Now what about x of 2? X of 2 is equal to new int 3. Why? Because this x of 2 is pointing to array of size 3. So in this way we can write this code for allocating memory to this kind of a structure in Java. Okay, now let us see which of these are valid and which of these are invalid. Okay, now let us suppose this one. Now here I have created x, which is 3-dimensional array. Okay, and the size of dimensions I haven't given the size of any dimension. That's why this is invalid, because the size of base array is compulsory. So I haven't given the size over here. That's why this is invalid. Now again the x 3-dimensional array, I haven't given the base size, remaining size I haven't given. So that's why it is valid. Okay, because the first base size I have given, but remaining size I have not given. So that is 100% okay, no problem at all. Now let us see this one. Here also, X three-dimensional integer array, the size of the base is given, the size of the next dimension is the given, and the size of the last dimension is not given. That is also 100% valid. Again, all the sizes are given, so again it is valid. Now what about this one? This is invalid. Okay. Always remember that once you have not provided the size of any dimension, then you cannot provide the size of next dimension. So here you have provided 4 over here, and this second dimension you have not provided. So that's why this is invalid. So once you have not provided the size of particular dimension, remaining dimensions you cannot provide the size. Okay. In this way, the memory is allocated to one-dimensional and two-dimensional arrays in Java. Let us now see the initialization of an array. So for that, let me create one array. X is equal to new int 3. So whenever I am going to execute this line, what this line going to do? This line is going to create one array of size 3 and it will be pointed by X. Okay, so X is a reference variable over here for this array of size 3. Now index of this element will be 0, here it will be 1 and here it will be 2. Now whenever an array is created in Java, it is initialized with the default values. Now here this X is a single dimensional array of integer, that's why the default value of X is nothing but 0, 0, 0. Now let us suppose if I am printing the value of s of 0 system.out.println x of 0. So after creating this array, I am printing this statement. Okay, so x of 0 will be printed as the output for this. I will get 0 because right now the x, that is array of 3, is initialized with the default values 0. Now if you want to change this value, then you have to use index of this element. So x of 0 is equal to, let us suppose 10. X of 1 is equal to, let us suppose 20, and x of 2 is equal to 30. So when this line will be executed, this 1 will be replaced with 10, 0 will be replaced with 10. When this line will be executed, this 0 will be replaced with 20, and when this line will be executed, this 0 will be replaced with 30. So in this way, you can initialize each and every element of an array. Now let us suppose I am writing here x of 3 is equal to 40. Okay, and now x of minus 4 is equal to 50 and x of 2.5 is equal to 60. Now let me tell you what will be the output for this line. So whenever this line will be executed, you are going to get runtime error. Why runtime error? Because the size of x is 3 elements and you are trying to insert 4th element in this x. So that's why it is going to give you runtime error. Here you may think that you will get compile time error, but here expected value is integer and minus 4 is nothing but integer. That's why there will be no compile time error. But you are going to get again runtime error because this index doesn't exist. Next, if you are going to compile this line, then you are going to get compile time error because this value is not integer. Okay, so in this way, if you are providing any integer value over here, so you are not going to get compile time error. But if that value is not lying in this particular range, then you are going to get runtime error. But if you are providing any other value like float and double or long, then in that case you are going to get compile time error. Okay, let us consider these statements and we will try to find out output of these statements. when we execute the first statement, in this statement we are creating two-dimensional array X. But here the size of base array has been given, but the size of next level array is not given. So that's why it is going to create base array of size 2, and the index here it will be 0 and index here it will be 1. So this much object will be created in first statement. So when we execute the second statement, in the second statement we are going to create this single dimensional array or one dimensional array of size 3 having index 1, 0, 1, 2. Now this single dimensional array is just now created, will be pointed by x of 0. Okay. Now as we know that whenever we create the single dimensional array, it is initialized with the default values. So here, as this array is of integer, so the default values will be 0, 0, 0. Now when we execute this statement, we are printing the value of x of 0, 2. So here x of 0, 2 is nothing but the 0. So the output of this statement will be 0. So when we execute this statement, it is last statement, here we are trying to print the value of x of 1, 0. Now we can see that the next level array of this is not yet created. So that's why we are trying to print value of something that has not been created yet. So that's why we are going to get runtime error. Okay, let us now see declaration, memory allocation and initialization of an array in a single statement. Now let us take one example. So int x. Okay, so we are declaring one dimensional array in this statement. Okay, so this is nothing but the declaration. And next I am going to create memory for this one dimensional array using new operator. So x is equal to new int and the size of the array is 4. Okay, so here I am allocating memory to the x. After that I am just changing the value of elements of x. So x of 0 equal to 10, x of 1 is equal to 20 and x of 2 is equal to 30, whereas x of 3 is equal to 40. So when this line is executed, x will be declared, but the memory for the array will not be created. In this statement, the actual memory for the array will be created. So it will create the array of size 4 with indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, and it is going to be pointed by x as we have written x over here. Now x of 0 is equal to 10. So before this, by default values will be there. So it will nothing but 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so these are nothing but the by default values of one dimensional array of integer. Now what we are going to do in this statement, we are just changing the value of x of 0 to 10. So after execution of this statement, here 10 will be stored, and after execution of this statement, here 20 will be stored, and in this statement we are just changing the value of x of 2 to 30. So that's why here 30 will be stored, and finally because of this statement here 40 will be stored. Now here we have done declaration, here we have done memory allocation, and in these statements we have actually done initialization. So we have declared, allocated memory and initialized this one dimensional array separately. Now the whole thing can be done in a single statement in this way. So first you write int, that is data type, then opening and closing bracket, square bracket, x is equal to opening curly bracket, elements of array, and finally semicolon. So in this way, whatever we have done in this 6th statement, the same thing can be done in this one statement. Okay, here we have declare memory, allocated memory and initialize the one dimensional array in the separate statements, whereas here in the same statement we have done declaration also, memory allocation also, and the initialization also. So that is the difference between these two. The output of these two are same, but the same thing we have done instead in one statement instead of 6 statements. Okay, let us now see the limitation of this. Okay, let us suppose I will take the example of int I is equal to 20. In this statement, we have declared variable I, we have allocated memory to the variable I, and we have initialized the value of the I. And the same statement can be broken down into two statements, that is nothing but int I and I is equal to 20. So this is allowed when you are going for the integer variable. But the same is not allowed over here. Okay, so you cannot break this statement like this. So int x is there, one dimensional array, and x is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40. So you cannot break this statement like this. So this is not at all allowed. Okay, so if you are using this method, that is declaring memory allocation and initialization in a single statement, if you are using, then you have to go for this statement only. You should not break this statement into the two. That is actually not allowed. Let us now use the same for the two-dimensional array. Okay. So let us suppose I have a structure here of two-dimensional array which is pointed by y. Here the first element of the base array is nothing but 40 and 50. Here the second element of base array is 60, and the third element of base array is 70, 80 and 90. So let us create this in Java using single statement. So for that I have to write int, because it is nothing but data type. Then I have to give two pairs of square bracket because it is two-dimensional array. So this is nothing but two-dimensional array. Array of arrays. So that is nothing but two-dimensional array. Then it is pointed by y, so I have to write y over here. Then I will give this opening and closing curly bracket for this base array. Each element of this base array is nothing but a one-dimensional array. So for that I have to give one more curly bracket. So here I will write 40 and 50 because this is nothing but the first element of base array. So it is 40 and 50. What is the second element of base array pointing to? To this one-dimensional array with this one element. So that is known as 60. Again, the third element is pointing to one-dimensional array of three elements. So again, I can write here like opening and closing bracket having 70, 80 and 90. So in this way, this complete structure can be created in memory using this single statement in Java. Let us now see the example of array in Java. Let us first write a class example array. Okay. So in this class, I am having one public static void main string args. Okay. So inside this, let us suppose I am creating one integer one-dimensional array. X is equal to 10, 20, let us suppose 100, then 50, 70. Okay. So that is nothing but my array. And then what I am doing, I am just creating one more variable, that is I equal to 0. And now in the for loop, I am just printing the value of all the variables, all the elements of this x. Okay. So for that, I equal to 0, I less than x dot length I plus plus. Okay. Now here I would like to discuss about the length variable only. Okay. So there are two things in Java: length method is also there and length variable is also there. Okay. So this length method you have to use with the string. Okay. Always remember that. So if you want to find the length of the string, then you have to use length method. this length variable gives what? Number of, or you can say size of array. Okay, so you can say size of array. So if you want to find out size of array, then you should use length variable. Whereas if you want the length of string, then you have to use length method. So you should always keep in mind. Okay. So now here I will use system.out.println. I will just print value of x of I. Okay. And here I will just close main method, and here I will just close class method. Sorry, class. Now let us see how this code will be executed. So when we execute this code, this will be the first line to get executed. Okay, so in this line we are creating one array, you can say one dimensional array of integer with how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 elements. Okay, and here it is 10, here it is 20, here it is 100, and then 50, and finally 70. And that is nothing but x. Then next here is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I am using one variable I, the value of which is equal to 0. And then I have one this for loop. So in this for loop, initially we are initializing I to 0, that is already 0. Okay. Here we are checking whether I is less than x dot length or not. So x dot length, again I am repeating, this length is variable. That's why this opening and closing bracket are not there, right? So that's why this length is variable. So whenever you want to find the size of array, then you have to use length variable, not length method. So here x dot length is going to return how many elements are there in array. So there are 5 elements. That's why this is going to return 5. Right now the value of I is 0. So 0 less than 5, condition is true. So it will come inside the loop. Now it is going to print x of I. What is x of I? That is 10. X of I is 0. So x of 0 is 10. So it is going to print 10. After that, I++ will be executed. So I will become 1 instead of 0. So here it will be 1. 1 less than 5. Again the condition is true. X of 1 will be printed. That is nothing but 20. Then I++. So again I will become 2. 2 less than 5. Condition is true. It will come inside. It will print x of 2. That is 100. Again I++ is there. So I will become 3. 3 less than 5, condition is true. X of 3 will be printed 50. And then I++, I will become 4. So 4 is less than 5. Again the condition is true. Again it will come inside. X of 4, 70 will be printed. Now this I, the increment, we will increment I. So I will become 5. Instead of 4, now I will become 5. 5 less than 5, the condition is false. That's why it will come outside this for loop. And because there is nothing outside the for loop, the program is going to end. So that is nothing but the output of this program. You have to remember that if you want to find out the size of array, then you have to use the length variable. Whereas if you want to find out the length of the string, then you have to use length method.